What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video, and we are going to discuss an NFL insider giving some new details to the New York Jets quarterback search. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated had his Monday morning quarterback. What the hell, Matt? Get it together here, kid. New information is out on the Jets quarterback search, and I am clearly excited, and that's what I want to get into today. First and foremost, none of this stuff is really all that surprising. So if you thought it was going to be like, oh, this is a blockbuster, not exactly. It's new information, but it's not anything earth-shattering. And Albert Breer confirmed that Aaron Rodgers is their number one choice under the right circumstances, but it's not Aaron or bust. They are exploring everything, which as they should, because you cannot pigeonhole yourself into just one thing. If you were to do that and then you miss, God forbid, on that one thing, well, then you're screwed. And that goes to show you that Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, all of them, I don't think they want to be in a position where they are running back the same quarterback room. So they're going to try something. And obviously it appears that Aaron Rodgers is their number one choice there. But that doesn't mean he's their only selection. He also goes on to say that there's nothing imminent between Derek Carr and the Jets, and there's a reason for that. Carr is going to end up taking more visits as expected, but the meeting went well last week. It's been over a week now, which seems pretty crazy that the New York Jets met with Derek Carr, but I kind of like that this is taking a while here and that he's going to meet with the other teams. I understand, the fear that people were under when they said, hold on, don't let him leave the building. You got to keep him there. Completely understandable why that was the initial reaction for a guy like Derek Carr. I like him. To me, he is the clear number two quarterback on the market behind Aaron Rodgers. But if Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh feel that they have a legitimate chance to land Aaron Rodgers, and on top of that, if they believe that he gives them the best chance, then you have to go for that. But again, like I mentioned earlier, you can't just pigeonhole yourself into this one spot and then you're screwed. You're SOL because you went all in on this one thing. But if it doesn't work out with Rodgers wants to go somewhere else or Rodgers retire, then great, pivot. And then you could throw the money at Derek Carr. And supposedly Breer saying that it might not even be $35 million, which would be a win. Anything lower than that, I think, is a win. I did my projection. I'd be comfortable giving Carr $38 million a year. And if you're telling me it's going to be even less than $35 million, which is what supposedly he's asking for, sign me up for that. That would be a bargain, in my opinion, for a guy who is a top 15 quarterback in the league, still in their prime at 32 years old. So I'm good there. He's going to take more visits, and he's going to take this process slow, which again leads into being a positive because the Jets are waiting for Aaron Rodgers as well. So he goes on to also say that besides Rodgers, besides Carr, Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy G are options, which makes sense. You kind of put those two, in my opinion, that they are a tier below. Both those guys are below Derek Carr. Now, if Jimmy G did not have the health concerns that he did, you could put him at the same level or maybe even above Carr because of all the success that he's had. But when you take into account how much time he has missed in the league over the last 5-6 years, he has missed significant time. He's played a full season just once. He played 15 games a couple of years ago, which is great, but there are single-digit games on there. There's like 10 games which he played this past year. I am, especially with the Jets' injury history, am not comfortable one bit betting on Jimmy G magically staying healthy after proving time and time again that he is going to miss time. And then it puts you back in the same boat that you were just in this past November and December, where you're deciding between Mike White and Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson poops the bed, doesn't have a good second half of the year, the wheels fall off there. Mike White gets hurt, which is someone else who maybe they want to keep him around as quarterback too. Great, but he also has injury concern because he's gotten hurt a bunch over the last 2 years in the few starts that he's made. So okay, yeah, he's obviously a lower option. I would understand why they would go that way, but With Mike LaFleur out, I feel like that option makes a little bit less sense. You could make that connection much more so if it was still LaFleur and Saleh here and, San Francisco 49ers East. And then Ryan Tannehill is very meh to me. He is below Jimmy, was hurt this past year, 36 or 35, 36 years old. Was nice, a nice player in like 2019 and 2020 for Tennessee. Last couple of years took a step back in the passing game, but you're going to say, well, Todd Downing is here and he's the Jets passing game coordinator, so that's your connection there. And I get it, but I don't love that option. And then there were two other names that he mentions, and both would be just so weird. And now, when you miss the number 2 overall pick at quarterback, you have to, turn over every stone and, go and look for every single option available. And bringing back Geno Smith could be on that list. Now, I would put that as not very likely. I think he stays in Seattle. I think that is a perfect fit for him there. I don't think bringing him back to New York would be a good idea. Now, obviously, he looks like a much different player and a much more mature player. Geno's biggest problem was immaturity when he was here with the Jets. And I'm glad that he's grown up and had a really nice season for Seattle this year. I just think like that was a perfect storm, a perfect situation for him. I'm not sold he can replicate that somewhere else, which is the same feeling that I have about the next guy in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones pretty much stunk through his first 3 years in the league. And then last year in year 4, played really well. But now is looking for $45 million a year. I do not feel comfortable giving Daniel Jones $40+ million a year. I'd rather pay Carr closer to that money. If you're saying they're both $30 million, maybe you can have a little bit more of a conversation, but I would still even think I'd prefer Derek Carr over Daniel Jones. And I really hope that this quarterback situation doesn't come down to Jones, where you're at Jones and you're forced to pay $40 or $45 million there, because I think you got to give Brian Daboll and that offensive staff a ton of credit for what they were able to get out of DJ this year. He really didn't show that success outside of just his time with Daboll. And obviously we saw what Daboll was able to do for Josh Allen, and Allen developed, over 3 years and turned into a really nice player, a MVP caliber player, one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And Jones isn't there yet. He went from, a bottom of the barrel starter to average starter. He was pretty good this year. He was significantly better than most people expected him to be, but I just don't. Again, like Geno, both of those two guys had success, are coming off a year of success, a 1-year success story in a really specific set of circumstances. And I'm not sold that both can replicate that in a new situation with Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive coordinator and with the high-pressured situation that the Jets are in, where they need to break a playoff curse and they need to make the playoffs in 2023. So I really hope it doesn't get down to Geno Smith and Daniel Jones. Those are names that have been circulated around more so by Jet fans, just talking about like, well, what if you miss on the top 5 options? So it's not super surprising to hear that report from Albert Breer. It really isn't, but I don't want it to get past really the top 2. I guess the top 4, if you're down to Jimmy G or Ryan Tannehill, I'm like, all right, I'll do it. But man, I don't know how excited I would be for Daniel Jones or a Geno Smith reunion, but hopefully it comes down to one of those top 2 guys. Let me know your thoughts on Albert Breer's report from today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.